I'm Anna Urban, and this is the Wildly Different podcast. I'm going to talk about all the wildly different takes out there on ADHD, neurodivergence, spirituality, manifestation, the meaning of life, trauma, shame, joy, purpose, and of course, all the actionable, practical strategies from the super scientific to the super esoteric. Some episodes will leave you with more questions than answers, but that's exactly the point. Is ADHD a disorder or a gift? Are we here to hack our time or maybe even to reimagine what productivity looks like entirely? How do we get ourselves to do the things we say we're going to do, even when every cell in our body would rather do something else? Are we neurodivergent, or are we aliens from Atlantis sent here to evolve humanity? Are supplements a scam? What's the deal with ADHD meds, and why do we have so much drama about it? If any of these questions resonate with you, then you've come to the right place. Let's get untamed.
Hello, my wild humans. Welcome back to the Wildly Different podcast. Every single week, we dive deep into strategies, mindset shifts, and tools to help us own our unique ADHD brains in order to live a more magical human experience. But we do it in a wildly unique way, which is that we make the philosophical practical. We take the theory and the science and the poetic flowery language and we make it tangible. Because what good is a mantra like energy flows where intention goes if we don't know what the fuck that means in our everyday lives? Where exactly do we put our intention when we just realized we dropped the ball at work for the third time this week? Where do we put our intention if we want to break free from overwhelm and paralysis? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Think of me as that annoying little girl in your 9th grade history class who needs to know exactly how Frida Kahlo managed to create such breathtaking art while navigating chronic pain and heartbreak. Like, did she wake up at 5 a.m. with a perfectly curated plan? What were her macros? Did she drag herself out of bed on sheer grit, sipping tea while, sketching on the back of a grocery list? What did she have for breakfast that day? What moments of doubt or frustration did she have to work through to make it all happen? That's the energy we're bringing today, because if we can figure out what really goes into those transformative moments, we can stop waiting for magic to strike and start creating it ourselves, one messy, imperfect step at a time. Today, we're going to talk about exactly that mantra, energy flows where intention goes. What in the flying squirrel does that even mean? And more importantly, how do we use it in a way that doesn't just sound pretty, but actually helps us move forward in our lives? To give you a real world example, I'm pulling this straight from one of my members inside of my ADHD Untamed program. We're doing this month-long clarity challenge to help everyone get clear on and actually stick to their goals. For the first assignment, I asked everyone to create a single goal that they would focus on for 3 weeks, something that would create clarity and momentum. There were so many amazing submissions, but I noticed one very common mistake people made when setting their goals. So let me give you an example. One member wrote, "The most important thing I want to focus on in this challenge is actually following through on the schedule I've planned for myself. I know that if I can stick to it, it'll create a ripple effect, helping me feel like things can actually get done and bringing more organization into my life, both as an individual and as a part of my family. To do this, I've been planning everything, personal tasks, work, family commitments, and I've been tracking it in both a written calendar and in an online one so that I can double check myself. I've even mapped out my weeks and blocked off the time on Fridays to review my progress and to make sure that I'm staying on track. Now my goal is to stick to those plans and honor the boundaries that I've set for each task so that I can keep moving forward." Sounds pretty solid, right? Wrong. This is actually one of the biggest traps people fall into when it comes to creating new habits, building self-trust, or learning new skills. And that is the trap of nebulous goals. Because what is this goal really saying? I want to focus on following through by practicing following through. It's just one big circle. And if you've done this before, do not feel bad. Trust me, I have done this more times than I can count before I learned how to actually set better goals, set goals that actually worked for my brain and goals that I could actually stick to. When we create nebulous goals, we're essentially building a hamster wheel for ourselves. We set a goal we don't know how to stick to, we fail to meet it, we blame and shame ourselves, we wait a few months, and then we try again. And every time we do this, we feel more and more discouraged. But let me be crystal clear. You are not the problem. The problem is just that you haven't yet equipped yourself with the self-awareness or the emotional stamina needed to follow through on a goal. So the kicker is, if our intention is nebulous, our energy will be scattered. Let me say that again. If our intention is nebulous, our energy will be scattered. That mantra, energy flows where intention goes, means our energy follows our focus. If our focus is everywhere, so is our energy. We're pouring it in a million different directions and making just a millimeter of progress in each one. But if we direct our energy into one clear, specific intention, that is where real momentum starts to build. Here's something that I tell my members all the time. If we try to solve everything all at once, we end up solving nothing. Write that down. If we try to solve everything all at once, we end up solving nothing. The problem is that we're trying to build momentum, but we're spreading ourselves so thin that we end up drained and overwhelmed. So what's missing here is specificity. And so in order to get yourself that specificity, I want you to ask yourself these questions. What do you actually want to follow through on? Because you don't care about just the act of following through. That's not actually what you care about. What do you actually want to follow through on? Like, what is the thing that you've been avoiding or procrastinating or delaying? What is the one thing that you can focus on that will have the biggest impact? Like, what's the biggest fire in your life right now? What is the one thing that you can focus on that will have the biggest impact? That is where our attention needs to go. Not into a vague idea of sticking to your plans, but into one specific measurable action that we can rinse and repeat to build momentum. And I know the temptation. You must be sitting there thinking, but Anna, my life is falling apart in so many different areas. How can I just pick one thing? And to that I say, okay, so you've been trying to fix everything all at once? How's that working out for you so far? Exactly, it's not. Here's the truth. We get so much further when we pour our energy into one area. And the magic of it is that it creates a ripple effect into other areas of our lives, which is ultimately what we want. So for example, let's say that you decide the biggest fire in your life right now is your sleep. So you pour all of your intention into creating better sleep habits. You gather data on yourself. You practice positive self-talk around sleep. You experiment with different tools and tracking and, pillow covers and eye masks and whatever. Over time, your sleep goes from 3 hours a night to 4 hours a night to 5 and then 6 or 7 hours. And let me tell you, there is no greater dopamine boost than seeing progress like that. That sense of pride and self-trust starts to spill over into other areas of your life. You find yourself communicating a little more patiently with your partner, having more presence for your kids, and showing up more confidently in your day-to-day life. You might improve your sleep by 70 to 80% over 3 months, and that improvement creates a 10 to 20% ripple effect in everything else because you've taken the pressure off of trying to fix it all at once. So now let's flip it. This is what most people do. We create a nebulous goal or a goal that spans, every area of our life. And we might see a small 5 to 10% improvement across a bunch of different areas. But it's not enough to really notice or to feel the difference or to create momentum. So you tell yourself, this is just not working. This is not working. I may as well go back to what I was doing before. But the truth is, it's not that it wasn't working. It's just that we didn't give ourselves the opportunity to see a big enough change in any one area. That brings me back to the mantra. Energy flows where intention goes. When we put our intention into one specific thing, our energy becomes concentrated. It's like that analogy that you may have heard of before of watering plants with rationed water. If you've only got a cup of water each week and you have 10 seedlings and you try to spread that water out across all of the seedlings, like they each get a couple of drops, they're all going to struggle and probably die. But if you focus all of the water onto just one seedling, that one seedling will thrive and bear fruit. The same applies to your energy and intention. Obviously, it's an analogy, okay? So don't take it too literally. I'm not saying let other areas of your life die, but I'm saying take the pressure off of yourself to try to create this like beautiful garden from scratch in every area of your life. When you direct it into one area, you will be amazed at how much growth and momentum you can create. I have so many more examples that I want to share with you, but honestly, you've got plenty to work with right here. You got plenty from this podcast to take action on in your life and to start creating your own goals and start thinking about where your energy might be scattered. Because the truth is, even just focusing on one clear specific area can create massive momentum in every area of our lives. So just to recap what your assignment is, okay? Just to recap, I want you to think about the mantra, demystifying it. Energy flows where intention goes, right? So I want you to think about why nebulous tasks in your life are the ultimate trap and how they set you up to spin your wheels without making real progress. And then I want you to think about specificity as the game changer. Choose one area of your life where you're going to direct your energy there. And then take the pressure off of other areas in your life, but watch it create that ripple effect, right? It's like a pleasant surprise. And finally, I want you to think about focusing a clear intention by shifting your self-talk. So next week, I'll share more of those specific examples with you. We'll talk about how this process shows up in areas like nutrition, business, self-talk, creativity. It's all about helping you write goals that actually work for your life. And I can't wait to dive into that with you. But if you are hankering for more right now, if you just can't wait another second, don't worry, I've got you. There is nothing worse, believe me, I know. There's nothing worse than feeling stuck on the personal development hamster wheel. And I promise you, you are not alone and you are not the problem. If you've been burned by personal development work before, I see you. It is so frustrating to read a book or to listen to a podcast and think, okay, that all sounds great in theory, but how the hell do I apply that in my life? That's exactly why I created ThoughtWork Simplified, how to make sense of time with your ADHD brain. This isn't just another pep talk or more theoretical advice. It's a practical step-by-step formula designed to help you bring your subconscious thoughts to the surface and work through them and create real actionable change in just 60 minutes. I'll teach you the exact framework that I've used with homeschooling moms, doctors, grad students, and creatives to help them break free from overwhelm and build a life that actually works for their ADHD brain. It's only 27 bucks. It's 27 bucks and you'll get lifetime access to this proven process. It's a universal formula. Like I'm talking step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. And you can rinse and repeat it in every area of your life. This isn't about trying harder. It's about creating clarity and momentum in a way that fits you. So if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and finally ready to get unstuck, ThoughtWork Simplified is waiting for you. You can find the link in my show notes. That's all for this week. My ambitious, rule-breaking humans, keep pushing boundaries, keep redefining what's possible, and I'll see you on the wild side.